That money line runs vertical. It's underneath the mercury finger. Starts at the end of the headline, and the lines run vertical. See in the red? 2 lines, that means incomes in your 20s and 30s. Now, if you get a, if you go to college at all and get financial aid package, you have to count that as income, because that is income coming to pay your education. Or if you get money from your parents or something, that will show as an extra money line. So 2 incomes in your 20s and 30s. And then that headline, in between the headline and heart line, that's about age 20, 30, and half of 40. And then where it crosses that heart line, that's about age 45. In the latter part of your 40s and through your 50s, I get 4 lines. And in your 50s, I get some extra markings in there too in your fate line. So you're going to be kind of busy in your 50s. And then it changes back to 1 line in your 60s and 70s. Good money line in your later 40s and your 50s. Okay, the lifeline. Now down in the lower left-hand corner where it says Guardian Angels in purple, the line will come up and touch on that lifeline at the age you were when someone passed away that's become a guardian angel to you. Somebody you bonded to, like your grandparents, your aunties, your uncles, your parents, your siblings, your cousins, old boyfriends, old girlfriends. And it'll touch on that line, and then it makes a line that goes across the lifeline. So this is the age you were when they passed away, someone you bonded to. Ages 14, 15, 18, 19, and 22. So you have to think back and think what age you were when somebody important to you died. Now, that's on the left hand only. On your right hand only, when the line comes up and touches at the bottom of that lifeline, that is a visit from a guardian angel. And sometimes if you're sick, or if you've had an accident, or if you're in distress, or if you've had somebody that's passed away, that spirit will come back and check on their loved ones before they cross over into the light. And that's a little visit from a guardian angel. And then some of them come back to be your guardian angel. You got a couple of them in there that are quite long. The line keeps going along that lifeline at 21 and 20. It does not make a line that goes across the line, however. It goes across the lifeline. It just comes up and touches at the base of that lifeline. So here's your visits from guardian angels at age 12, 14, that's where somebody passed away. 19, someone passed away. 20 is a really long line. Whoever that is staying around. And at 21, you've got another long line. They're watching over you pretty good. Because see, that's the line that's on the inside of that lifeline. That's a guardian angel line. Now, the area right below that mercury finger is where your marriages and your children are going to show. Look down there where the flirt lines are at the end of the heart line. Yours are just kind of fair. It means you interact well. It means you interact okay with people. You don't have a whole lot of flirt lines in there. And then that section between the flirt lines and the ring around the mercury finger is where the marriage and children will show. The marriage and relationship lines will go horizontal across that area, and then the children lines come down vertically from that ring around the mercury finger. Shows 2 children. They're kind of slanted. That's kind of a strange look to them. Then starting down there by the flirt lines, you take that area and going up towards the ring around the mercury finger. That first section by the flirt lines, that first third of that area is age 20-30. The next third is 40-50, and the last third is 40-50. The last third is 60-70-80. So the light-colored lines are relationships. The dark-colored lines are marriages. Going up from the bottom, you got 2 relationship lines, one before your marriages and one after. You got 2 marriage lines. So going up from the bottom, where the flirt lines are, and this is earlier in your life, you got a relationship line. Then you got a marriage line. It's a good marriage line. It's got good color. It's about 20 years long. That's probably the line where you'll have your children. And then the second marriage line is a little bit longer than the first marriage line. It's about the same color, about the same type of marriage. Both are good marriage lines, got good color in them. But that second one's about 10 years longer than the first one. Oh, it might be a little bit longer. In fact, that first one could possibly be just a little bit more than 20 years. I can't tell you exactly when you're going to marry, but there's a little marking that shows up in the fate line. It's the line that starts at the base of your palm and goes up to your Saturn finger. Tells you about your career and your lifestyle. And it's a little marking that looks like the letter Y. It's a little stick with a fork on the end. So I went along that fate line and saw where that's a good timeline on there. Every half an inch is 7 years. Every eighth of an inch is a year. Where that crosses the headline, that's 40. Where it crosses the heart line, that's 50. And so I went along that line to see where that appeared in that fate line. And see where it says chances to marry down there in the lower left-hand corner of your chart. Here's the ages where that little marking appeared in the fate line. And that's just a positive time in your life when you can marry. Now, whether you make the choice to marry or not is you're the master of your fate. It's your choice. So here's the chances to marry at age 27, 28, 29, and then this is probably your second marriage, 47, 50, 52, and 54. That one at 52 looked a lot better than the others, I'll tell you that. The achievement lines come off the top of that lifeline, and they'll either point to that Jupiter finger or they'll go straight up. If they're an extra long line, I've circled it. If they're an extra thick line, I've circled it. Or if they got a lot of color in the line, I've circled it. I noticed one in there is double circled. That's a really good achievement line. Okay, upper left-hand corner. Here's the ages where you got the achievement lines at age 14, 15, 19, 20, 21, 24, 25, circled at 30, circled at 39, and then 41 and 42, and double circled at 45. Then 48, 49. Oh, that one at 45 was really good. That was right there where that line curves around the base of your thumb. Then 48, 49, 51, circle at 52, circle at 55, 58, 60, circle at 62, 64, 65, circle at 70, and circle at 73. And by that time, that line has gone clear around the back of the thumb, and I can't read anymore. Jump over there underneath that Jupiter finger. This is your sixth sense. You should have a nice little fat pad in there, kind of a little mound just underneath that Jupiter finger. That is your sixth sense or your intuition. Yours is really good. Nice little fat pad. Here's how that works. If you've got a problem you got to solve, just clear your mind completely for about 30 minutes. Then when you come back to solve the problem, you'll probably have it already solved, because that gives your intuition or your sixth sense time to kick in and help you solve the problem. So listen to little promptings inside your head. Let's do the heart line. Heart line's the first major line in your hand. And it starts between the Jupiter and the Saturn fingers, comes down. It should make a nice little curve in there and then go off to the side of the hand in the flirt lines. And yours does. Yours makes a nice little curve in there. Very loving and caring. If it straightens out, if it's real straight, people are kind of tough emotionally when it's real straight, but you got a good curve. Loving and caring. Now look up there in the upper left-hand corner of your chart where it says lines of energy, and run your finger down where it says island, I-S-L-A-N-D. Anytime you see those little islands, sometimes they're little ovals, sometimes they're a little triangle-y looking things, sometimes they're a circle, and that breaks the energy of that line. And it means there's some health stress. Along that heart line, you got about 3 little triangle-y looking marks. They're not very big, they're just kind of teeny tiny. They're just some slight heart health stress is all, but they're just but you're out of place in your spine where your heart nerves are. Okay, now over to the fate line in the lower right hand corner of your chart. This is your last line that's in green. It starts down at the bottom of your palm. Yours this is your career and your lifestyle. Anytime that line breaks, it's a change in one or the other. I can't tell you which. So yours starts a little bit off to the side of the palm, which means that you're very sociable. You like to have your friends and family around you all the time. If it went right down the middle of your hand, you'd be a private person. All right, the breaks in the line. Sometimes you might not get a break, but you'll get a line that comes off that fate line, and that's kind of a minimal change. Usually, if it's a real big break, I've kind of circled it. Here's where the breaks are at age 25. 31 I've circled. Now remember, where that fate line crosses the headline, that's age 40. Where it crosses the heart line, that's age 50. All right, 31. Then that line gets a little bit thin until about age 37. I'm wondering if that's when you're going to be having a bunch of kids, where that line gets a little bit thin. Okay, that's at 31 until about 37. And then at 40, where that crosses over the headline, then I just get one line to 40 to 50. That just means one career. But at age 51, there's a big change. Now that's crossed over the heart line there. And I get two lines from age 51 to 80. They run kind of parallel. They don't go right straight up. They kind of curve over. And they swing over to the left side of that Saturn finger. That means when it goes off that left side, that means your spine's been jammed. So age 51 to 80, and at 80, that's where the ring is around the Saturn finger. It kind of takes a jog up into that finger right there at 80, and goes up into that finger for about an inch or so. If you're going to live till you're 88, that's not bad. You're down to the headline, the head and the spine line. That's going to tell you two things. Your line is very intelligent. Tips down a little tiny bit on the end. That's a little tiny bit of depression, but no biggie. Very intelligent line, but if you got any of those little island things in that line, and you got some problems in that spine, that's where you're out of place in your spine. Now find the chart that says Chart of Effects of Spinal Misalignments. It's got the spine on the left-hand side. Now see in the red where I've marked where you're all out of place and they're according to your hand. And then the column right next to it, that's the vertebrae. That's the name of the vertebrae in the spine. Cervical, T is thoracic, L is lumbar, and then your sacrum, your coccyx, your tailbone. And then the next column is the area. That's the area that your body, that the nerves go to in your body. Your head, your eyes, your cheeks, your nose, your vocal cords, your neck, your heart, your lungs, your stomach, etc. And then that next column is the effects. And that's the effects that you'll get if that vertebrae is turned out of place. Reading along from in between the thumb and the Jupiter finger, reading along that headline. Under the Jupiter finger, that's going to show your cervical vertebrae. And see, you're all out of place where I circle, except I don't think you're out at the very top. If you were out at the very top, it would tip that end of the headline way down and make some severe depression. You're getting a little tiny bit of depression, but not very much. Off that 6C, 6 cervical. So C is your cervical, 1 through 7. And that shows underneath the Jupiter finger. Under the Saturn finger, it's going to show your thoracic, 1 through 12. And you're out all along there, except just kind of right at the tail end of that thoracic. Down there where it says kidneys, small intestines. You know, you're out where your liver nerves are. Adrenal, no, you're out in the adrenals. It's about the tail end of that. That's 1 through 12. And then under that sun finger, that's your lumbar. You're out just a little teeny tiny bit. out of place, generally where that 3L is. That's right in the small of your back. That's your female nerves. Don't want that out of place. That's that 3L. Oh yeah, you're out right smack, right where that 3L sits. And that's messing up that line. See that line that goes down by the word sociable? It's your health line. It's your internal organs. It's kind of broken. Got a couple of broken lines in there. It should be one clean line. And your internal organs, that's your colon, your spleen, your stomach, your lungs. Although generally it's your organs down in your lower body. Because if you're out the top part of that spine, out of place, it's going to throw you out the opposite way in that lower spine. And that's what it's done here in your... See, you got a big space there where you've got nothing out of place, but you're throwing out that upper... I wonder if you have a little bit of scoliosis. That's where you're out in the neck area and then kind of in between the shoulder blades. Now, the length of your fingers are your talents. Everyone has talents. No one gets cheated. So long fingers mean one thing, short fingers mean another thing. Nothing's good or bad. That's just the way you're born. The palm shape's the most important talent. There's square, there's long, there's a combination of square and round, and yours is kind of roundish, which is a very artistic hand. You see color and proportion and things that fit together well. You got, let's see, you've got one kind of square finger. Look just on the ends. This is the right hand only. One kind of square finger, practical, orderly, punctual, stubborn, a little bit macho. And then you've got 4 rounded fingertips, intuitive, quick, very compassionate. Usually I see those on people in the health field, the doctors, the nurses, the social workers, the caretakers. All right, jump down there to the thumb. This is the length of your fingers. These are your talents. You got kind of a long thumb that needs to come up to about halfway on that first joint on that Jupiter finger. And it's a little bit long. You'll do well in life. Good manual dexterity. You hold tools and instruments well, and you work well with your hands. Now let's see that index finger. Let me explain these names to you. Palmistry is about 2,000 or 3,000 years old. And they went through and named all the names of the fingers and different areas of the palm. Generally, they gave them names of Greek gods or goddesses or astrological names. So that index finger is the Jupiter finger. Middle finger is the Saturn. The ring is the Sun finger, sometimes called the Apollo finger. And the little finger is the Mercury finger. And that section in between the heart line and the head line, that's called the Mars area, all across the palm there. That section, let's see, that area right below the thumb, that little fat pad below the thumb, that is called the Mount of Venus. Venus, goddess of love, because that shows your sexual libido. Oh, here we are at the Jupiter finger, the index finger. It's a little bit long, just kind of fair. Just a little tiny bit long. That's the boss finger, the manager, the supervisor. The teaching finger, sales finger. You'd be good as a teacher. Saturn finger. Oh, the Saturn finger. Well, it's just a little bit long, too. That needs to be about the length of the palm. It's just a little bit long. Fairly good business sense. You kind of know how to make money. And then that sun finger is very good. That is your creative finger. Creative, imaginative, inventive, abstract thinker. That's very good. Plus, you've got a line that runs from down in the palm with 2 or 3 little lines that start down there, and it runs up into that finger, which is a creative achievement line. So you might create something that's a money maker. And then the little finger, it's your Mercury finger. If that's real long, you love paperwork, you love to write, like to use words. No, you don't. Here's a short. Hands-on person, very active.